When you think of the best haunted houses, you likely imagine cobwebs, creaky stairs, and maybe a ghostly child or two rattling the bars of a crib. But here are 8 notoriously spooky and haunted locations that you can actually visit. They're not open year-round or every day, but when they are open, you won't want to miss them. First up is Waverly Hills Sanatorium, which opened as a haunted house in 1883 in Louisville. The sanatorium began as a small building in 1910 that could hold about 25 patients. But as tuberculosis spread through Kentucky, the hospital had to expand quickly. So just 3 years later, it moved into a larger building that could hold 400 patients. The Waverly Hills Sanatorium closed as a tuberculosis facility in 1961, then served for 20 years as a geriatric hospital before closing in the early 1980s. The sanatorium has since undergone several transfers of ownership and is currently undergoing restoration. But throughout the years, rumors have swirled about the sanatorium being one of the most haunted places on Earth. Paranormal enthusiasts estimate that as many as 60,000 patients died while receiving treatment for tuberculosis, making it easy to see why some say the sanatorium is one of the most haunted places in America. If you're interested in visiting, you can book a tour or even spend a night in one of the sanatorium's renovated apartments, if you dare. Next, we head north to Moundsville, West Virginia, where the West Virginia Penitentiary, often called Moundsville Penitentiary, earned its title as one of the 10 most violent prisons in America. Between 1866 and 1995, riots, murders, and executions took place within the prison walls. Convicts spent time in cells only 5 feet wide and 7 feet high, and eventually a court ordered the prison to close due to inhumane living conditions. Now, the site of ghost tours and paranormal investigations, the former prison may be the most haunted place in West Virginia. Continue your ghostly road trip by stopping at the Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio. The prison made its debut in 1834, serving as the model for prison reform. But conditions worsened throughout the 1800s, and by the time the reformatory closed in 1990, it was known as one of the most brutal prisons in the United States. The prison gained international fame in 1994 when it was featured as the setting for the film The Shawshank Redemption. It took 27 years for the Ohio State Reformatory to finally be demolished, and today visitors can explore its reportedly haunted grounds. More than 100,000 former inmates are buried in a nearby graveyard, and paranormal investigators believe their spirits live on inside the prison. One of the most popular sites for paranormal investigators, a loaded gun knocked to the floor in 1950 killed the superintendent's wife. To get your fill of maritime hauntings, you have to book a cruise aboard the Queen Mary. Okay, so maybe you don't need to book a cruise, but you should if you enjoy ocean liners. After spending decades transporting passengers and soldiers from England to the New World, the ocean liner permanently docked in Long Beach, California in 1967 to take on new adventures, namely offering pleasure cruises, Over the next few decades, millions of passengers sailed aboard the ship. And with such a diverse group of people on board over a span of 30 years, it's no wonder many believe the ocean liner is haunted. Stateroom B340 has the reputation of driving overnight guests away. Spirits who like to fool with the plumbing and clomp around the stateroom all night long. But the third-class stateroom isn't the only place to encounter the paranormal. Many people report seeing the ghost of a little girl in the pool. She seems to appear and disappear without a trace, although some claim she brushes against their legs as she swims past them. The Queen Mary also harbors a woman in white who glides silently through the ship's huge salon. While no one knows her identity, they do know she prefers to dance the night away alone, and those who are unsatisfied with just a quick glance at the macabre might want to book a room in the Winchester Mystery House. Sarah Winchester inherited the Winchester rifle fortune after marrying the nephew of the company's founder. And instead of enjoying a quiet life after all that shooting, Sarah received threats that she and her family were cursed because of the evil deeds committed with the guns. When her husband and infant daughter died, she turned to a psychic who told her to flee to San Francisco and find a house with 7 gables. Soon after, she found the farmhouse of John and May Alice Leffingwell, and she purchased it. But once she learned it had only 6 gables, she ordered her workers to build another to bring the total to 7. And thus began the work of creating the bizarre labyrinth that would become the Winchester Mystery House. From 1886 until 1922, she continued building rooms in the house until it boasted 7 levels, nearly 200 rooms, and 47 fireplaces. Throughout the house, doors open 2 staircases leading nowhere, windows face brick walls, and rooms end abruptly, sometimes mid-stairway. But no matter how strange the layout of the house seemed, Winchester's architect followed her orders precisely. Why? Well, Winchester believed that spirits pursued her in vengeance over the deaths caused by the Winchester rifles, and she hoped to confuse them with her ever-changing house. To appease them, she used a séance room in the center of the home to speak with the spirits, telling them to rest easy. Before the Winchester Mystery House became a tourist destination, guests looking for a more traditional haunted house experience should make their way to Deadwood, South Dakota. In 1876, Seth Bullock became the first sheriff of Deadwood, and he helped establish law and order in the chaotic frontier town. Several years later, he built a hotel that still stands. Today, tourists can visit and spend the night in the same rooms where miners and cowboys once discussed business deals and poker games. The hotel once served as a temporary home for families forced from their homes after an outbreak of cholera killed hundreds of Deadwood residents. Some believe the children who died from the disease still roam the hallways at night. Deadwood's most famous spectre is supposed to be the former proprietor himself. Visitors have reported encountering him while staying in the hotel, usually in the form of lingering cigar smoke. Other Deadwood hotels attract paranormal tourists, including the Adams House. A Victorian mansion where W.E. Adams may roam to this day, and the Fairmont Hotel and Casino where the ghost of the grumpy man haunts. He's rumored to be the ghost of a Native American man who worked on the construction of the original Deadwood Jail. Now, let us take a break from haunted hotels and check out a few more locations you can actually visit. In Sleepy Hollow, New York. Visitors can take a nighttime tour of the village, where author Washington Irving introduced the world to the Headless Horseman in his 1820 story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Although Irving's tale was fictional, spectral investigators claim the small town does have its share of other paranormal citizens. Some say a lady in black wanders Patriots Park, annoying the tenants of an apartment building. Others claim a lady in white uses her screams to alert the town to incoming snowstorms from her perch at Raven Rock. Visitors can also explore the old Dutch church cemetery, where legend says the Headless Horseman met his end. According to local law, Mother Holder haunts the churchyard where she was laid to rest. In 1777, Mother Holder was a German healer who tended to British soldiers wounded in battle. But when her brother was killed in the fight, she turned her skills to helping the Patriots. Unfortunately, her efforts didn't go unnoticed and her body was riddled with bullets. Witnesses say her spirit wanders the graveyard where her body is buried. For more on ghosts and goblins, check out our picks for the most haunted places in America. Then watch